CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Okay, here we go. The bullet train has 16 cars, 10 economy, 6 first class, and remember, only 1 minute stop at every station.
Tired of being stuck on 76, 95, 476, 222. You get the picture. Anyway, jump on this train.
The conductor, I don't have a ticket.
Not sure that's your biggest concern.
But let's talk about this young man here. This is Marcus Stokes. Now, Marcus had gotten himself, last August, he had a scholarship to the University of Florida. So he was going to be taking the field for the Gators coming fall. But unfortunately, young Mr. Stokes put himself in a position, speaking of social media.
Man, social media is a motherfucker, man.
So a video surfaced this past November. He's rapping along with a song, and of course he's dropping M-bombs galore. And so Florida said, yeah, that scholarship, Marcus, we'll just take that back right there, all right? So, I mean, him and Reed are in the same boat because, I mean...
I get you, I get you, sweet as steel, and you all down it. You just all down it.
All down it. So, Stokes wound up getting his scholarship revoked. But, and wouldn't you know, an HBCU, being Division II Albany State, came to his rescue and offered him a scholarship. Of course, that backlash came on the school president when it got out about what Stokes had done to wind up at Albany State. The HBCU Albany State wound up revoking his scholarship then too. And I'm like, how is this kid supposed to atone? I don't think that a person should be sent away for racism. All right, I'm always in favor of, like when they're sentencing a guy for a hate crime, a judge should be like, how are you, sir, with taking Hajj? Are you familiar with that? No? Okay. What about Ramadan? Can you tell me when that is? Don't worry about it. You'll be able to answer those questions because I'm sentencing you to prison and you'll be staying with the brothers. So say goodbye to your pulled pork sandwiches, sir. On one of two outcomes. He's either going to, one, not be a racist anymore, probably come out with the kufi and whatnot, or two, he's going to have a good reason to be racist. Travel is the enemy of prejudice.
Ticket, please.
Hold on.
No. Receipt.
Shit, I think I dropped my ticket too. That receipt shows I bought a ticket though, right?
On the D train.
There's someone else doing a job on this train.
But we know that.
With Darren, DeVoue.
And it's another beautiful day in Pennsylvania. Hello and good morning from Indigo Mills in Chester, Pennsylvania. On the Voice of Chester, CMPRadio.net. It's the D Train with Darren DeVoue. All aboard, get on board. We're going to talk about a cooking class that made me jealous later on today. And also 6ix9ine. He was in the news for a hot second. But first, we're going to start off with some sad news. Because recently, Temple parted ways with Aaron McKee after 4 seasons. McKee was 52-56 in those 4 seasons, including 16-16 this year. They had 2 wins over ranked teams. One win over Houston, who was number 1 at Houston, and they beat Nova when they were number 16. So but I was a little salty though, because I'm a little partial because watching McKee as a Sixers fan, as a Temple fan and as a Sixers fan, to those teams with him and Eddie Jones and Rick Brunson. So McKee had replaced Fran Dunphy, who of course replaced John Chaney, and it just didn't feel like 5 years. I just felt like they should have gave him enough time. Now, for real, you usually know what you got in a coach most often by that second year. But I don't know, I just feel like there should have been a longer chance. Speaking of coaches that got a long chance, let's just real quick, and coaches that parted ways with their institution. Jimmy Boeheim, 47 seasons at Syracuse. Him and Syracuse parted ways. Syracuse lost in the second round of the ACC tourney to Wake Forest. And that's when you pretty much knew that it had run its course with Boeheim. Boeheim departs as the longest tenured men's basketball coach in the country. He finishes his career with 1 national title, five Final Fours, and 1,015 career wins. That doesn't include the 101 that was vacated due to his NCAA violations. He ranks second all time in coaching wins to Darren Coach Mike Krzyzewski. Adrian Autry, who played for Syracuse from 90 till 94, he's going to be replacing Boeheim. He was the associate coach since 2016. 47 seasons. Boeheim got to Syracuse and never left. He graduated high school, came to Syracuse, played there, then was an assistant coach, then the head coach. Syracuse was good to him. Moving on. Let's talk about the Burge transactions. It's that time of year. We got to just stamp it, man. We should just print a coin at this point because people are saying I listen to the radio stations, 97.5, WIP, of course. We might as well, though, as Eagles fans, I think that we should just print up some coins and stamp them in Howie we trust. Well, except for when it comes to picking linebackers, although they did agree to terms with Nicholas Morrow, but he's on a 1-year deal. Also, they signed, and speaking of positions that the Howie, Roseman, Jeff Lurie administration doesn't care about, safeties, Terrell Edmonds got another 1-year deal. Lane Johnson got a new contract. Fletcher Cox got himself a 1-year deal. There was no Darius Slay. Then there is a Darius Slay after a 2-year agreement on a 2-year extension. They also came to terms with Greedy Williams on a 1-year deal. He only played 6 games last year for Cleveland coming off, but that was due to injury. He was a second-round pick. Bradbury got a 3-year deal, and Boston Scott got a 1-year deal as well. Speaking of 1-year deal running backs, though, I think that Rashad Perry, that might pan out, especially with that line. I don't know. What do you say? Good morning, Gerald. Top of the morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. Shoot. I forgot to do the Boys and Girls Club. Oh, shit. But anyway, speaking of Philly teams that lost in the final of their respective sport, the Union, they are not looking now. Right now they're 2-0-3. But the problem with that is it's not wins, losses, ties. In soccer, it's wins, draws, losses, which kind of makes sense because you get points for a win, get points for a draw, get nothing for a loss. So the Union are 2-0-3. Eighth place in MLS right now, and they're on a sad streak. So we're going to keep it moving from that. So speaking of teams that have lost in the final, I think this team is going to will future lose in the final. I'm talking, of course, about. I don't have a picture for it. I'm talking, of course, about. So Sixers played. Oh man, they got shellacked. Well, not really shellacked, but they lost to Phoenix. Phoenix won 125-105 over the Sixers. They outscored the Sixers 36-22 in that fourth period, which turned out to be the difference. No Durant for Phoenix, no problem. Devin Booker, the one-way stud, he led with 29. Bismack Biyombo, part of my all-name team, he has 17 and 13 boards. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid, 28 and 10. That was on top of he had 46 and 9 in the Sixers 120-112 loss to the Warriors earlier this week. So they're about to just tuck that MVP thing in his pocket. Go ahead, Joel. He's earned it though. He's earning it, and he's earning it with minutes played. He played against the Warriors? He played 38 minutes, and I want to say he played. Let's see. He played 32 minutes against the Suns, who still haven't gotten Kevin Durant back. Yo, Kevin Durant hurt his. Think about it, folks. Kevin Durant hurt his ankle doing warm-ups. Like, that's the basketball equivalent of trying to get out the chair and like, that's when you know you're getting old. Like, he's no spring chicken. He's getting up there. For sure. But no Kevin Durant. But that puts the Sixers, let's take a look at the standings. They had closed in to 2.5 of the first place Bucks. But then they lost these two here. So what? They are where? Yeah. Hold on. Let's check that out. I closed that tab. Hold on. NBA standings. And the Sixers are, they are 4 games back. 4 games back now of the Bucks. 2 games back of those pesky Celtics. And that would put them with 10 games to go. That would mean, oh wait, there's a play-in. I always forget now. Like, the play-in was fun for a hot second during the pandemic, but can we get back to the regular basketball now? But so we don't know who that play-in has to happen for us to really speculate on who the Sixers' first round opponent would be. But like, if you went by the old format, right now the Sixers' first round opponent would be the New Jersey or Brooklyn Nets, which would be hysterical. Oh, Ben Simmons, they said he's out. He's got that back issue. He's got a nerve issue. I said, yeah, he's got a nerve issue, all right. He's got none. So, who the Sixers got coming up next? Let's see. They finished the season. Oh, they do finish the season. I know, because a couple of days, I was looking at tickets in Brooklyn, and I know that they play an April game in Brooklyn. But let's see, Sixers still got, big one against the Nuggets. JoJo going to try and dominate Jokic, cement his MVP case. And then they got the Mavericks, who are out right now. What? They are, as it stands right now, the Mavericks would be on the outside looking in. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, the Lakers have been holding their water even with James out. But let's see, Sixers got, so we said the Nuggets tomorrow, 9:30. Then they got the Mavericks after that. Raptors, then visit the Bucks, Celtics, then the Heat, and then the Hawks, and they end the season. They end the season with the Nets on a Sunday. Man. Well, so it looks like they're going to be sitting, unless barring the Celtics faltering, and them getting on the streak, they should hold water because there's still 2.5 games up on the Cavaliers who are in the fourth spot right now. Speaking of NBA, my man, we talked before about my boy Ja Morant. Oh, and I don't have a picture, but Ja Morant, he emerged. He's back in the mix. He came off the bench in his first game back from suspension because we talked about him getting suspended for that video with him and his big ass chain and little ass gun at that club in Denver. Speaking of which, it was funny reading the quotes from that the owner who got, they sticking the cameras up in her face. So they asked her about that night. Now, reports are that Morant spent $50,000 there. Now, I don't know, because he came back. That was the second night, according to the report, that he was there at that club. So, reportedly, he spent $50,000. They come up to this owner asking her about Ja Morant. He was a wonderful person, quite mannerful, very polite, this, that, and the other. Hell yeah, he's awesome. He spent 50 G's. He paid some car notes up in this piece. Ja, come back again. Leave the gun. Please come see us again. That's funny. But Ja Morant, back to him. He made his return. He had this interview which aired after he had a meeting with the commissioner, and he had this to say. He did this interview on NBA Countdown with Jalen Rose. Here's the audio.
Adam Silver, what was that meeting like?
It was good. Pretty much, an open discussion. Obviously, he said, things, I need to, be better at, but, more of just, showing his support towards me. And I accepted that, and I also sent my apologies to everybody, the league, myself, my teammates, my family for putting that negativity towards all of us with a bad decision.
You at the spot, Shotgun Willie's. I've been there. You were holding a gun, and we both know how dangerous that can be. Whose gun were you holding?
Well, the gun wasn't mine. It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take full responsibility for my actions. Made a bad mistake, and I can see the image that I painted over myself with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who Ja really is, what I'm about, and change this narrative that everybody got painted over me.
In particular,
yeah, I apologize unreservedly. What's funny is they sent him away for that hot minute. Now, whatever issues that he had going on, I'm like, this boy's acting out pretty hard and fast. I don't know, like this 2 games, it was 2 games, and it became 5 or 8 or whatever. So whatever that time period was, like, is that enough time for him to really address these issues? Or is it enough time for him to memorize his apology, get these talking points down, and then get back in this game? We'll find out. Meanwhile, though, Dylan Brooks, his teammate, though, he went full heel, shoving cameramen, getting another technical and getting suspended. That's how you take the heat off your teammate, though. He's a good teammate, that Dylan Brooks. You gotta respect that. So, oh my goodness. Speaking of cats that were cutting up, this cat here, this is XFL quarterback Quentin Darmody. And he was investigated for giving out his team's playbook to other teams. He was cut from the Orlando franchise of the XFL. And then the XFL's vice president, communications, Jeff Allstatler, released a statement announcing his reinstatement. Additional information, says Allstatler, additional information on the situation was brought to the attention of the league overnight, and the league has reinstated the player while it conducts a formal investigation into the issue. The situation is under review, and we will share more details as we feel are appropriate. Which makes me wonder, damn, what this dude got on these people? You selling plays. You're literally selling plays to other teams, and you're getting investigated for that. Then you get reinstated. You got some. What do you have on somebody, buddy? All right. But meanwhile, are you that broke that you got to sell your team's plays? Like, that's some and how does he come back in that locker room now? Ooh, can you imagine? Anybody ever been in a locker room? Some dude, talk about snitching. Everybody on that stop snitching stuff. Oh, so that moves us on to, speaking of cats cutting up, I'm sure y'all heard about Flyers interim GM Danny Briere's son, who did this at a nightclub up in Mercyhurst, New York, where he goes to school. Standing there by a wheelchair, top of the steps, and I just having a couple of beers. I like this guy here. My man comes up, he's just talking to him, sees him messing with this wheelchair, and now he's like, yeah, I'm out. Yeah. Got beer to drink. And then I get it. You're in your 20s. You're dumb. That dumb stuff you do in your 20s. But one, it's not even the fact that he's because you know Danny Briere was heated because he's looking at his son who got hit with charges, by the way. What was his charge? Let's see. Danny Briere's son charged. He got charged with something because that wheelchair belonged to a double amputee who had to get carried down those steps to the bathroom. And so I'm pretty sure he saw her, this female, get carried down there. And then just, bad. But Carson Briere, that's my man's name. Carson Briere, this is his second squad. He was at Arizona, and he got kicked off there for what they said, team violations, which is pretty general. But that, he's I'm not a father though, but I imagine cussing out my nephews over something stupid. I couldn't imagine. Speaking of cats doing stupid things in public, I don't have a video out of it, but my man 6ix9ine, your boy 6ix9ine here was cutting up at a Miami Marlins game. It was a game in Miami. But recently he got jumped at a LA Fitness in Florida. So because after that whole court thing, he can't show his face in New York, I'm sure. But he got jumped at a LA Fitness. He was coming out the sauna. And why you got that thick ass jacket on in Florida? But he got jumped at this LA Fitness. And here's the video.
That's how they supposed to treat you.
Oh.
Mickey Mouse ass, clown ass. Do something. Go ahead. Take a picture. Go ahead. Take a picture. I want to be famous now. I want to be famous.
Brothers taking L's. Yeah. Yo, and then this one dude followed him out there's another video where this dude follows him out of the bathroom. And he's right behind him, and he's, doing his little TikTok or Instabook, whatever thing. And then he says, yo, 6ix9ine just got jumped. 6ix9ine just got jumped. So Tekashi turns around, and it's like he almost as if he's going to square up on this dude. And then dude says, whoa, bro, I ain't jump you, bro. I ain't jump you. He said, ignorant stuff. Oh, but nothing came. Oh, the 3 charges. Back to Briere real quick. Back to Briere. The 3 charges my man might be looking at after pushing that wheelchair down the steps. He was arrested Both of those cats are to receive charges through the mail by summons. They weren't arrested. Doesn't say what the charges are. Can't see. Oh, damn! And there's a picture of her. Oh, there's a picture. Oh man, that's sad. Those things are expensive too, dude. I saw a piece on Real Sports where this guy, he's doing wheelchair jumps. He's like the BMX. He's treating his wheelchair like a BMX bike. It's pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, so Rick Ross. Who's Rick Ross is a bad neighbor. Rick Ross owns, for some reason, somebody gave him buffaloes. These were a gift. If you can, y'all cats have just seen that damn Scarface too many times. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, it's not for me to get, but his buffaloes have gotten out and they're escaping onto his neighbor's estate down in Georgia. And so he's got a police statement. His neighbors are asking for help, but the police say he's racking up complaints from neighbors in the Atlanta suburbs, and it only got worse when the creatures escaped the rapper's ranch and caused damage to property. On Facebook earlier this week, Fayette County Sheriff's Office shared a post about the situation, beginning with a sense of humor. Who would have thought it? A buffalo in Fayette County. But then it urged residents to use caution if they were encountered a buffalo because they can be unpredictable and possibly aggressive. Yeah, things are large. We've done plenty of stories about people getting too close to those things and getting tossed, like Ross is trying to do here. He lucky, yo. Why though? Why? Anyway. Let's from fake gangsters to real gangsters. This lady here is the little one, and she's Italian. She is literally an Italian gangster. She's an Italian gangster. Italian mobster. Hold on, I lost her page. Italian mobster, little one. Little one. Can you imagine how vicious you got to be? How vicious a woman boss can be tough enough. No offense, ladies. But a female mobster? Jesus. She was just recently sentenced, 71-year-old. Maria Liccardo, and she's one of the few women to lead a mafia clan. She only got 13 years. I'm sure she deserved much more than that. She was known as the little one because of her small stature. She was arrested in August 2021, attempting to flee Italy to Spain, apparently to visit her daughter. And so she didn't bat an eyelash when officers walked up to her. She's a gangster. She gangster like that. She didn't bat an eyelash when officers walked up to her to arrest her. And she just walked along with them. She took over the clan in Naples of Secondiglio following the death of her brother in prison in 1994. So Italy's interior ministry described her as the strategic head of a group of families dubbed the Secondigliano Alliance, and which is said to have large control of part of organized crime in Naples. In 2001, she was placed among Italy's 30 most wanted fugitives, and she had previously done a bid for 8 years before that. Gangster. Scary though. Gangster. Gotta respect it though. And with that though, that'll do it for our first block of the D Train with Darren DeVoue. In the second block, we're going to find out that Chester has a welding team. Did not know that. You're on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester.
The way this is to get off it next up, holding the briefcase so he will kill everyone on that train.
You're not ramping down. We're just getting started. Nothing stops this train. Nothing.
I missed my stop.
Why?
Because God hates me.
No, she doesn't. Get off at the next stop.
You ever watch Thomas the Tank Engine? Everything I learned about people, I learned from Thomas.
Recapping the week in sports like no one else.
So, speaking of hating black people, Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock was on the Tucker Carlson last week, and they were discussing the protests around the Tyree Nichols murder. And Whitlock had this interesting assessment to offer. Oh, you're going to love this, folks. It's going to take a minute for him to bring it on home, but here we go.
Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers.
Gordon is the strongest, the most important, but he doesn't always listen to others. I mean, some people are Edwards, wise, kind, some Henrys, hardworking, strong.
If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time, because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
Some people are diesels. Me. That was the trouble.
You've been on the show so many times, and every single time you say something I never would have thought of, including what you just said, and I appreciate it. Jason.
Oh, they funny, ain't they? Oh my goodness, man! Listen, Tucker Carlson got some nerve. It's hilarious because I don't know why they're inflaming people. That you mean like what you do every damn night, Tucker Carlson? Oh my goodness, it's got to be so comforting for racists like Carlson to have blacks like Whitlock and Kanye around to say what they want to say. See, my views aren't racist. Here's this black guy saying the same thing and he agrees with me. Oh my goodness. Oh, back to Whitlock.
See, the black race can't force me anymore.
No, we can't. No, we can't. Oh my goodness, Whitlock though, man. I bet that Whitlock has probably used a 4-letter C word then to describe black females. And I could think of a 4-letter C word to describe him. Coon.
It's the D Train.
Because diesels bluff. They go too far. Man, I'm trying to get diesels out of my life.
We're back on the second block of the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester. And in this block, we're going to talk real quick. A crackdown going on here in the city, organized by the local PD. Speaking of PDs, the Norristown PD has a new program going, and that and more. But first, got to talk about the Chester welding team. So, can I tell you guys? So I'm sitting there. I saw a headline on that Chester High School dominates a welding competition. So I thought, that's awesome. I mean, Chester winning and the kids are learning a trade that'll turn out to be a well-paying job. And then I clicked on the picture and I was like, I zoomed out, no. Yeah, that's Chester, Illinois, apparently. So yeah, Chester, Illinois. So little creek on the headline, and yeah, that's Chester, Illinois. Congrats to the kids though, for the reasons that I mentioned above. Moving on, the Philadelphia Parking Authority. If you haven't heard, the Philadelphia Parking Authority is going to be cracking down on ghost cars. And apparently that's cars that have no license plate that are parked on the street. So if your car is in your garage, obviously you can have a no park, or in your driveway. But if it's parked on the street, it has to have a license plate. So come to find out, it's practice that's becoming very popular around the city. And I see it a lot. Like people walk, I don't know, man. I got an allergy to police interaction, so like all my stuff want to up and up. It's like that riding dirty with the no plate, that just seems like an invitation for trouble. But anyway, a lot of people are putting their tags off of their cars to try and avoid getting booted and towed, because if you ever been an insomniac and going for a walk at like 3:30 in the morning around the city in Philly, you will see quite an efficient operation going as the PPA trucks are rolling, booting and towing, snatching cars real quick like that. You never know what hits you. But PPA, they released this video or this statement twice on Twitter, so okay, so can we stick a pin in that for a second? This noise that's been distracting me in the background, I didn't know what was going on. Can I tell y'all, my man is in a kayak sitting here on the creek, on Chester Creek right there, singing himself to Sam Cooke's "It's Been a Long Time Coming." It seems like there's an interesting story. I know where I'm going right after. I'm going to try and initiate a conversation with that gentleman as soon as I get out of here, as soon as this show wraps up. Oh, I know there's a story there. Good morning, Mom. Oh, I missed what I said, Gerald. Oh, no. I missed it. Now I'm watching the comments now. Yeah, probably 6ix9ine, getting thrashed. Oh, moving on. Oh, yeah, so illegal dumping in the city. The Chester PD Facebook page is releasing pictures. They are looking to identify folks that illegally dump in the city. And they've been posting images of the gallery on the camera. They set up cameras, as you can see. So there's a whole gallery. There's like 31 pictures on the Chester PD Facebook page. And I'm mad that they were only showing the people. I also want to see what they were dumping. Okay, like, I don't know, more of a curiosity. But they're asking for the public's assistance with identifying these illegal dumpers. Anyone with information pertaining to their identity, asked to contact Captain Elian Morgan at 610-447-8433. Yeah, man. And you know, looking at, when you see those videos, like if you know them, when you see those pictures, you'll know it's them. So I wonder who's going to get ratted out by like somebody they pissed off, like calling that name in real quick. Hell yeah, that bitch, she owed me $20. She gonna pay now. Oh, did you hear about? I saw a story where it's depressing because you've been hearing all about the environmental time bombs, the doomsday clock, and so I saw a report a while ago where only 5%. It said 5% of plastic has actually been recycled. I'm like, that's horrifying. And then there's these, I just saw a report recently about these plastic rocks that were found on a remote Brazilian island. Plastic rocks. The researchers said it's terrifying. The geology of Brazil's volcanic Trinidad Island and is combining with the plastic. So melted plastic is getting intertwined with the rocks on the island, and you're literally getting plastic rocks, which shows it's an example of how we as humans are trashing the environment and influencing geological cycles. Is it too? I don't know. I'm giving up. I used to be like that big environmentalist. There was a friend that joked that I care more about the environment than I do people. But I fought the good fight. But I surrender to all you polluters. I surrender. Oh, what else? Do we have anything else on this block, Darren? I'm trying to get P back in here. I'm trying to get P back in here, but right now it's Ramadan, so there's only so many topics he's willing to discuss. Oh. Isn't it funny, though, how spring is almost every religion's get-right time? Like, right now it's Ramadan, you got your Lent. You know, you all got to reform. Listen to this guy out here. I got to get out there after the show is over. Like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I'm definitely going to initiate a conversation there. But it's funny how this is the get right time. Speaking of get right time, speaking of Ramadan, don't forget, if you miss any of cmpradio.net content, you can check out the cmpradio.net YouTube or Facebook page. And that's where you will find all of CMP's radio content, such as Respect for Life with Mr. Muhammad, with Brother Muhammad. Also, you have The Narrative. And, of course, later on today, we've got the Sisters podcast, Sisters on Air podcast, and the Cut Up podcast. Let's see real quick if I can find this story on the Norristown Police Department, because they are coming up with a new community outreach program, but I lost it. So more on that next week. So with that, though, we're just moving right down the line here. So with that, though, I got the Terminator, the Governator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is trying to terminate hate. And speaking of hate, we've got a couple of Republican senators who showed some hate. Well, not even hate, just if it was hate, it was hate of the most incompetent order. You're on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester.
You're not ramping down. We're just getting started. Nothing stops this train. Nothing.
I missed my stop. Why?
Because God hates me.
No, she doesn't. Get off at the next stop.
Snap.
Can we get this back on the rails?
Tired of being stuck on 76, 95, 476, 222. You get the picture. Anyway, jump on this train.
This here is a couple in Thailand. That's Boontoon Chaeman. He embarked on a road trip with his wife, Nue Chimon, and they were going to spend New Year's at her hometown located in Mahasarakham province in Thailand.
Everything was going all right until the 55-year-old Chai Moon stopped to have a potty break. So the husband, he gets out, pees, right? Wife's in the back seat, sleep. She gets up, doesn't see the husband. She thinks that, all right, well, she goes and gets out herself to go pee. Husband gets back in the car, supposedly not realizing that the wife has gotten out, and he drives off, leaving her right on the side of the road. This happened at 3 a.m. on Christmas Day. The woman, she marched 3 miles down the road to a gas station. She kept trying to call the husband. Mind you, her phone is in the car too. She doesn't know his phone number by heart. She calls her phone, and then supposedly the 55-year-old Chai Moon can't hear it. Yeah, okay. He was driving right along like, They were probably arguing. He got in that back seat, saw she wasn't there. Like, that worked itself out. He pulled right off. Finally, they got a hold of the husband, who by now was 159 kilometers away. Oh, by the way, yeah, we're Americans. We don't do the metric system. So that's 100 miles. My man drove 100 miles before he he ain't just realized that. You drive 100 miles, you try to leave her ass. That's for sure. You can bet you by golly wow on that one.
On the D train.
You know what's on that train?
Darren DeVoue.
It's my train.
Last block here on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net. Don't forget the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. You can go there for after-school programs, school socialization practices for your children. Testing. Stuff. Check out their programs at boysgirlsclubchester.org, or just stop on down. They're here over town, which is what these Chester folk call downtown, or what would be downtown. Anyway, so with that said, the last block here. So let's talk about incompetent racism. So this week, or was it last week? A radio host up in Boston, Chris Curtis. Was it Chris Curtis? Yeah, Chris Curtis is his name. They were discussing this was on Wednesday's episode of the Greg Hill Show. They were discussing, small bottles of beer. You know what we often refer to as nips. Nips. Keep that in mind. So then the one cat tosses it to the other host. Hey, so what are you guys' favorite nips? And then Curtis goes, I'd probably go Mina Kimes. To the other guys, Mina Kimes is if you've seen her on ESPN, she's an ESPN host, and she is of Korean descent. I'm like, so first off, nips is a slur for World War II era slur for Japanese folks. And I'm like, she's Korean. Dumbass, you can't even racist right. You just sitting there. Anyway, so he got suspended for that. And then he had a bonkers, let me see if I can find this bonkers. Oh yeah, he said he wasn't being racist. If anything, he was being sexist because he wasn't thinking of Mina Kimes. He was thinking of the actress Mila Kunis. And Kimes, to her credit, she took it in stride. Meaning she changed her profile to Mila Kunis, and it was there from that. She left it at that. Curtis tried to walk his statement back, though, and it got sadder from there. But he was back on air briefly. He issued an apology on the show, and then he was suspended until next Wednesday. So you'll have more of his silly spewing next week to look forward to, Boston radio fans. But can you be surprised? I mean, in 1991, was it 1990 or 91, D. Brown, have I told this story on? I think I told this story. D. Brown, wife, setting up a bank account after he was drafted by the Celtics, comes out of a bank and is looking at 5 cops with guns in his face. Makes him go face down, and it's like, yo, none of y'all recognize the team's first round pick? None of y'all? Come on. Oh, but speaking of looking down your nose, now this is a Minnesota senator. Who this week, they were discussing in the Minnesota State Senate, they were discussing universal free lunch. And this fella, oh, wait. No. Shit, did I delete it? Oh, I'll come back to it. So they were discussing universal free lunch in the Minnesota State Senate. And this guy, Drukowski, had this to offer.
This is the direction that this party in control is leading us. It's the wrong direction. It's a one-size-fits-all. Government dictates to the people of Minnesota with their money and using it to do things to them that don't need to happen. Mr. President, I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that is hungry. Yet today. I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that says they don't have access to enough food to eat. Now, I should say that hunger is a relative term, Mr. President. You know, I had a cereal bar for breakfast. I guess I'm hungry now.
Damn, what? Really, they be killing me, these Republicans. Keep these transgenders and gays away from the children. We need to protect the children, but not feed them. All right? Like, come on, man. A hungry student, I know this from teaching, a hungry student is a stupid student. You know, that's why I did have some smooth days, them days where I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to bribe y'all with some Chick-fil-A minis, and then you'll hit y'all with some reading and some math, and days went smoother. I mean, but can you believe that wasn't the stupidest thing? That was the second stupidest thing that Drukowski had to say this month.
Does this bill, I mean, will there be I've got an orange flyer that somebody put on my desk, you know, and I grew up in Wisconsin, so I'm not a historian in Minnesota, Senator Swazinski, but I do understand that the genocides between the white people and the Indians going back included kind of several genocides each way. I don't know how many, but will these people also be part of this? Yeah.
Really, dude? You trying to both sides argue genocides? Genocides don't go both ways, dude. Ask yourself, I've only met, how many Native Americans have you folks ever met? I mean, actual Native Americans, like not some black folks talking about, oh, I'm part of it. No, I'm talking actual Native Americans. I've only met 3. They were all related. It was a father, 2 kids, right? Incidentally, they were from Minnesota. So, no, like they ain't running around like that because the genocides didn't go both ways. They funny. That's like funny in that way. It's like their superpower. It's pretty impressive. Speaking of which, being racism being their superpower, this here is Florida State Senator Jay Collins. Now, Collins is a retired Army Green Beret, and he sponsored a new state amendment, SB 668, that provided a list of flags that would be permitted to be displayed by Florida state buildings, public schools, state entities, etc. Of course, it was Florida, so the list excluded the gay pride flag or any other LGBTQZ symbolism. Strangely enough, the Confederate flag made its way on the list of acceptable flags. And then when he got called on it, of course, he walked it back and they released this statement on Twitter. Jay Collins is an American patriot who personally sewed his arm back together on the spring battlefield in Afghanistan as he was hemorrhaging blood, along with losing his leg due to injuries sustained in active combat in defense of the flag of the United States of America. Any insinuation that Jay is a Confederate sympathizer is disgusting. Okay, if you say so. They went on to say the amendment draft was filed. Now here's my favorite part. The amendment draft was filed in error. In error, okay. And has already been pulled as we work to ensure the wording of our bill is in line with the state constitution and statute, which is what created this issue in the first place. They funny. They're so funny. It was an error. It was a mistake, you know? Well, you know what? Oh, speaking of hate, the gubernator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, released a video recently and he's addressing the folks who, like Collins, just don't have it right in here. So here you go.
Today, I want to talk to the people out there who might have already stumbled into the wrong direction, into the wrong path. I don't know the road that has brought you here, but I've seen enough people throw away their futures for hateful beliefs. So I want to speak to you before you find your regrets on the end of that path. Nobody who has chosen the easy path of hate has gotten to the end of that road and said, "Oh, what a life." No, they die as miserably as they lived. I've talked a lot about my father and the broken man that I was surrounded by when I grew up in Austria after the Second World War. They felt like losers, not only because they lost the war, but also because they fell for a horrible loser ideology. They were lied to and misled into a path that ended in misery. I want you to know that you still have the chance to choose a life of strength. But you have to give up your war against everyone that you hate. Let's give up that war.
Yeah, that's it. And he has slayed how many? You think about how many anonymous henchmen he has slayed over his movie career. Like, and he's giving shout out to the gubernator for that one. But there was this cat. Now strip clubs, nice little transition there. Strip clubs supposed to be a happy place, right? Now this happened at. Did you know? I know. Professional players always, I'm not really a connoisseur of the strip club. It's a fantasy land. But this cat happened in Tampa Bay, which bills itself as the strip club capital of the world. And this happened with this cat. A security guard saved a lot of lives at this strip club in Tampa. And here's the video for that.
Scene unfolded outside a strip club in Tampa, Florida. Watch as a man wearing a devil mask and holding a gun in his right hand tries to enter the business. A security guard sees this and grabs the gun from his hand, which drops to the ground. They scuffle.
Jesus.
People standing outside the club run from the scene. The security guard runs back to grab the gun on the ground and points it at the suspect. Police soon arrived and Michael Rudman was arrested. He's now facing charges of assault with a deadly weapon. Police say they found fully loaded magazines in his pocket, along with additional ammunition, knives, and firearm holsters in his truck.
Yo, my man though, you could tell just from the crazy ass coming to shoot up the strip club. He looking for that one girl that worked every Wednesday. She told me she loved me. She loved your money. We were gonna get married. She was just saying that because you had your wallet out, sir. Like, that's what kills me about dudes. Like, how come dudes do? Women go to the strip club to have fun, and dudes go to the strip club to fall in love. I'll never figure that one out. T-Pain even wrote a song about it. He was like, I don't think he was BSing in this song. But last story. Wait, is that our last story? No, last story. So I'm sitting there, and I came across a story about a cooking class. I was so jealous because I love to cook, but I was so jealous of this cooking class because I thought I had the same idea a few years back. I just didn't have the capital, the dollars, always the effing dollars. I didn't have the capital to kickstart this thing and set up the facilities and whatnot, but there's a guy that's running a cooking class for kids, and he's a Brew Mall resident, Scott Noy. And he's running this cooking class is called Chef Dad's Table. It's a summer cooking class, and it gives kids hands-on practice with making dinners and desserts. And I was like, damn it. Because when I was teaching, like some free periods, I would have the kids we made our own pizzas and whatnot so they could see how easy it is to make some dough and, So yeah, Chef Dad's Cooking Table gives kids hands-on practice with making dinners and desserts, and it's open to kids of all ages, toddlers to teens. Sessions will vary by age group, and it's open Monday through Thursday from June 19th to August 10th, and registration is now open. So last year's camp sold out, so keep that in mind if you're going to register your kids for that. The curriculum covers teamwork, confidence building, which this is doing, community involvement, nutrition, and obviously culinary arts. Activities can include outdoor play, arts and crafts games, cooking contests, taste tests, theme days, and recipe contests. And you can tell people how to do something. Said Noy, you can tell people how to do something, and you can give them food so that they are able to eat. But when you teach them a skill, you know they can do it for themselves. So that reminds me though, like the first time, I love cooking, I'm a very good cook. But the first time I made dinner, my mom called from work. She said, listen, with that tone of hers, listen, I want you to go in the refrigerator, pull out them pork chops, pull out some seasoning salt, pull out this. And so I followed along what she said, and then by the time she got home, dinner was ready. And when I tasted it, I was like, damn, it's good. And I did this myself. So that kind of confident, that in and of itself is confidence building for a kid, I believe. And I'm jealous of Mr. Doy and his cooking class thing that he was able to get off the ground. And by jealous, I mean I'm just kidding. Shout out to Mr. Noy. And with that brings us to the end of today's run of the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net. Don't forget, Pressure Inc. is your one-stop shop for all your apparel decorating and printing needs. You can get business cards done. They do graphic design as well for clients. And t-shirts, uniforms, you name it. Pressure Inc. is your one-stop shop. Go to pressureinc.com or check out the cmpradio.net Facebook page or check out our page and you can see Pressure Inc., link to Pressure Inc. and all of our sponsors there. And so, with that, we are going to end this week's run of the D Train. And folks, have a peaceful, productive, and positive week. I'm going to go out there and hang with my man real quick by the kayak dock. He was singing A Change Is Going to Come by Sam Cooke, But it seems to me sitting on the dock of the bay by Otis Redding would be much more appropriate. Well, that's just me. All right, folks. See you next week. Thanks you for joining.
You will both board at Kyoto Station. Then your business with him will be concluded.
Man, I just want to get off this train and go see a Zen garden or some shit, you know?